The French Revolution, from the Bastille to the guillotine. The fall of the Bastille in 1789 became a landmark symbol of the French Revolution. But to understand what led to this event, we must go back in time. For centuries, France was built upon an absolute certainty. Power came from the king, hierarchy was natural, and inequality was simply part of the world order. This logic shaped laws, customs, and even how people perceived their own place in society. Everything seemed solid, permanent, but by the end of the 18th century, this structure began to fail. Not suddenly, but through small, almost imperceptible cracks. The price of bread rises, the state falls into debt. The distance between palaces and the streets becomes unsustainable. While Versailles shines, Paris whispers. In this video, we return to France on the eve of collapse to witness how an entire society reached its breaking point, and how ideas, crises, and decisions pushed one of Europe's greatest kingdoms into a revolution that would change the world. This is where the French Revolution begins. France in 1789 was a country divided into three parts called estates. At the top, the first estate, the clergy. Just below, the second estate, the nobility. Together, they represent less than 3% of the population. Beneath them, crushing the very foundation of everything, is the third estate. Peasants, artisans, merchants, urban workers, and an increasingly educated bourgeoisie. This group sustains the country with taxes. The nobility pays almost nothing. The clergy contributes little. The weight of the state always falls upon the same shoulders. Meanwhile, poor harvests drive up the price of bread. Famine spreads and unemployment grows in the cities. The contrast is brutal. In Paris, crowds scramble for crumbs. In Versailles, luxurious balls illuminate golden halls. At the center of this world is Louis XVI, a king without political resolve, surrounded by a court detached from reality. Beside him, Marie Antoinette, a symbol of excess in the eyes of the people. France appears stable, but beneath the surface, the structure is already fractured. While the people starve, books circulate. Pamphlets move through cafes, salons, and universities. Enlightenment philosophers question everything that once seemed untouchable. Absolute power, inequality, the divine right of kings. These ideas do not emerge from thin air. The independence of the United States, just a few years earlier, proves that it is possible to overthrow an old order and build another based on rights. The French bourgeoisie observes, learns, and finds inspiration. Liberty, equality, fraternity. Words that once seemed abstract now gain real weight. The problem is that the French state is broken. War debts, poor administration, and an unjust fiscal system lead the king to a dangerous decision: to convene the Estates General. For the first time in over 170 years, representatives of the three estates meet, but the voting model maintains the imbalance. The two privileged estates always outvote the third. Indignation explodes. The representatives of the people refuse to play the game. They declare themselves the National Assembly and vow not to disperse until they have given France a constitution. At this moment, the conflict ceases to be merely social. It becomes political, and there is no turning back. July 1789. Paris is seething. Rumors spread that the king plans to suppress the assembly by force. Fear mixes with rage. The people arm themselves with whatever they can find. The target is not chosen by chance. The Bastille. The fortress symbolizes absolutism, a political prison, fear, arbitrary power. When the Bastille falls, it is not just a building that collapses, it is the symbolic authority of the old regime. The revolution spreads to the countryside. Peasants invade estates, burn tax records, and attack symbols of feudal power. In Paris, the monarchy is forced to retreat. The king accepts the constitution. Feudal privileges are abolished. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen is proclaimed. For the first time, the law asserts that all men are born free and equal. It seems like the birth of a new world. But revolutions rarely follow a smooth path, and what begins as hope soon transforms into something darker. France now faces enemies, both foreign and domestic. European monarchies fear the example will spread. Wars begin. Within the country, suspicion grows. Who is truly loyal to the revolution? The king attempts to flee and is captured. His public image is destroyed. The monarchy falls for good. France becomes a republic. Shortly after, Louis XVI is executed. The rupture with the past is total. Power passes to more radical groups. Among them, Robespierre stands out.